Hello, folks. So, in this video, I wanted to talk about theater businesses. Let's specifically look at something like, say, PVR, but I think this would apply to many other theater businesses also, right? Um, First of all, primarily theater businesses are not just about movies. Mainly, I think a lot of their income comes from food. No wonder they don't allow, say, outside food because they don't want people to just bring outside food and eat that, and then they'll not have income from people buying their own food, right? So they don't allow any kind of food inside the theater. So PVR and almost all theaters are very strict about this, right? They check your bags and whatnot. The security, I think, is mainly for the food and not even for something like, say, check if you have a knife or a bomb or whatever. I believe the main check is for food. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, the PVR does say that you cannot bring, say, chargers and adapters and power banks. I guess that is also to avoid stuff like bombs or stuff because they can burst. Anyways, but they do allow our phones. Of course, they can't stop people from bringing their phones. But I think any other accessory devices like chargers they won't allow, I guess. But phones, iPads, or laptops, I don't think anyone will give their laptop to baggage in PVR or whatever people have. And stuff like, say, their earphones or earpods or whatever. Anyways, let's look at the food business, especially, right, and theater businesses. So they earn a lot of money from the food, right? But then let's look at something like, say, PVR. Like, they won't allow you to take your own food inside the theater, but a lot of theaters usually they have movies, and movies are usually for around, say, 1 hour to 1 hour are like very small movies, 1 hour 15 minutes, or even 45 minutes, like whatever short movies and all. And then there are movies for 1.5 hours or 1 hour 45 minutes. A lot of English movies are like that, or 2 hours and all. Indian movies, it's like 2 hours, 2 hours 15 minutes, 2.5 hours, or 2 hours 45 minutes, or even 3 hours, like 3 hours 30 minutes and all. So it's like a lot of time, right? And the timings of these shows are also in such a way that they come around when you have some meal time or snack time. It's during the day, and a lot of people are used to eating almost all the time also, especially in places like India where people are just binge eating, probably, right? Almost always eating something or the other. And hopefully small meals or small snacks and all. But people are eating something or the other sometimes, and especially during, say, 6:30 or 12 p.m. or 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., when these shows are available in PVR and other theaters and all, right? And in the morning at, like, say, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and at night, say, at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and then, say, 9 p.m., 10 p.m., and all that, right? So it's easy for people to get hungry, people to get thirsty, right? And interestingly, theater businesses, I think they didn't have water before, free water. You had to buy water, and usually theaters, you have, I think they have their own brands usually for water bottles. And even if they have other brands, they will not sell it at the MRP rate, which is actually illegal, I think. Not I think, it's like true. In India at least, you have to sell it by MRP. If the MRP says 20 rupees or 30 rupees for per liter or whatever, they have to sell it only for that much. Let's say they are selling Bisleri water bottles. Even if it is cold, they'll say service charge or whatever because it's cold water bottle. Or even if it's a normal water bottle, they charge more than the MRP. That's just illegal. But people do it. No one's going to complain. Very rarely someone is going to put a case on them, sue them, go to court and whatnot, or go to the consumer court and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, they do that. And I think recently someone did go to court, and they got to make a law wherein they got the law to make or they got the court or someone to pass a law to say that make all the theaters provide free water So, but it will be provided somewhere like some random water can will be there, or some water dispenser will be there. Some places like say PVR and all will have a good water dispenser. Weirdly, some of them will not even have a proper water dispenser from which you can actually say fill your water bottle or something. You can just drink water from it using a mouth. This is the usual water wash basins or water dispensers that you can find in say in other countries, which has some sort of like tap through which you can drink water like this. You have to bend down and drink water. So it's going to be hard, but it's there available in some PVRs. Some PVRs have proper water dispensers from which you can drink using a cup, disposable cup that they have. Sometimes they will not provide a disposable cup. They'll just provide one cup or whatever, or there might be no cup. You'll have to ask around. Or if you have a water bottle, great. They'll allow you to have water bottles and all. Or so I believe. At least an empty water bottle so that you can fill up water. So I usually carry water bottles anywhere I go, so that first, if they don't have water, I can drink water. Theaters or restaurants or whatever. Usually theaters, restaurants will have water, paid or free. And also I want hot water, so I just keep a flask kind of bottle that has a bit of hot water. So yeah, just in case. And also I'm traveling and whatnot, let's say going to the place that I'm going to go to, in between I get thirsty, I need water, so for that to just store water. But then yeah, that is there. So these people, theatre businesses, they make money even from water bottles, in case people buy water bottles. And interestingly, not just theatre businesses, restaurants also do this kind of stuff, wherein they don't provide free water generally, they just provide water bottles. This could be for two reasons. One is they could say that, see, if I provide free water, you could probably complain about the quality of the water. You could say it's not hygienic, it's not great or whatever. And basically any feature or any service you provide, if you don't provide it to a good level, like good service level, then it attracts backlash, it attracts complaints, right? Basically any service you provide, it can attract complaints, right? It can attract bad feedback, criticism and whatnot. So if they provide water and if it's not great, like provide water to the customers, right? And if it's not great, then the customers are going to be like, see, this water is not great, right? So they would rather just provide a existing brand, not even their own brand, just say something like Bisleri or whatever, and say, see, I don't provide free water because you will probably criticize it, so I'll just provide you Bisleri if you want, or just get water from outside, right? So they'll provide that, and they'll provide it at MRP, right? And the other thing is, interesting thing about say restaurants or even say theatre businesses like say PVR or whatever, it's very possible that these people sell water at a really high price. Say 1 liter of water, say 50 rupees or 100 rupees or 150 rupees or 200 rupees. Some people would rather actually buy something else, say cool drinks, sugary drinks and whatnot, or fruit juices for some more money, say, or the same amount of money, because they are like, I would rather pay for sugary drinks and or fruit juices for instead of like paying 200 or 150 or 100 for plain water, right? So it's an interesting thing, because people would rather do that actually. They are like, I will not pay more money for this plain water, I would rather pay the same amount of money for something better. According to them, sugary drinks are better or fruit juices are better. I would disagree, especially when it comes to sugary drinks. Fruit juices also I would disagree to some extent, depending on how the fruit juice is made, especially in like restaurants or theaters and all that. Depending on say artificial flavors, or depending on the ripeness of the fruit, the quality of the fruit, and depending on the preparation, let's say they put sugar and whatnot, and old ice cubes and whatnot, whatever, right? The quality of the water and whatnot. And then, so yeah, I mean, so interestingly, these theatre businesses can also earn easily by making the cost of water bottles or water in general really high. And this is true for even restaurants, so that people would rather just buy something like, say, Sprite or Coke, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or whatever, or fruit juices or milkshakes or whatever, or coffee, and things like tea or any beverage, cold or hot, instead of just drinking water. Especially for quenching their thirst, they would rather just get some cold beverage that is not water, and quench their thirst, right? And then comes other food items in theaters, right? There is the classic set of items that you can find. Mostly I would call them all junk food. Like, I would call even popcorn junk food, though I've heard that popcorn is almost 0 calories. Popcorn, as the name says, it's popcorn, popped corn. I really didn't realize that until very later. So it's really just corn that's just popped, and but it is of course processed to some extent. The corn, I believe, is processed, because it's not just like you have to dry the corn. I think, I don't know, like how the corn of the popcorn is like done, like how it is processed. But finally, of course, it is processed. Like, as in, after the corn comes up to be, like, let's say you get an Act 2 popcorn. Act 2 is a company. I'm not advertising for them, sorry, but it's a popular company, so a lot of people know. But let's just say you get the packaged popcorn that you can actually pop. It has some sort of oil in it, I think, some substance, some liquid. I believe it is oil and something, along with the corn itself. And you can pop it in anything that you have, let's say a cooker or whatever. So these people make that, and I believe that is also kind of junk. And even if popcorn is not junk, the things that they put in the popcorn on top, for toppings, let's say they put lot of butter is also fine, lot of ghee or whatever. I don't think they put ghee, lot of butter popcorn and all that. This is plain basic popcorn, right? There is also caramel popcorn and all that. That just seems scary. It just seems like plastic to me when I see it. And I've eaten it, and I'm like, the outer seems just like plastic, and I'm like scared. I'm like, what is that I'm eating over here? Alright, even popcorn seems a bit scary only in some cases. Anyways, and then the toppings, like, say, the powders that they put, I've eaten them all. Even say a few months ago or so, I've eaten them. I usually don't prefer to eat them. I go to the theaters only to watch the movie. I don't eat anything. I'll talk about that, which is actually a problem for PVR. Actually, okay, I'll tell you about that. So PVR or any theater business, right? So yeah, I mean, the toppings, like all the masala powders, whatever that they put, the spices and all that, those are processed powder, right? I have no idea what they put in it, but it's really, really good. It tastes really well, and that is why it's scary, because I believe it is properly engineered, right? In a food lab, it's scientifically engineered to be good, tasting good, feeling good in your mouth, in your head, and whatnot, to make you feel good and all that, right? So they have different flavors, and all that. These toppings on popcorn, not really good for you, trust me. And people generally put a lot of them. I've seen it, and yeah, only then it tastes good, or else it doesn't taste good at all. So my brother-in-law and like my family members, they love such popcorn. In Chennai, where where I used to live in Chennai, in India, in Tamil Nadu, there was this company called SPI Cinemas, which got acquired by PVR Cinemas, which was pretty much famous only for their popcorn. People used to go to PVR Cinemas just to buy their popcorn, and to eat their popcorn and see the movie. I think in SPI Cinemas you can actually get the popcorn even without seeing their movie. I think their popcorn counter is outside. I'm guessing, I can't remember. Or no, I don't know. I can't remember now. I think their popcorn counter and food counter is outside their, outside their entrance, like where you have to show your ticket to enter. Interesting idea, right? A theater can sell their food even without asking their customers to actually watch the movie. There are pros and cons to it. The pro is, of course, people can eat their food even without watching a movie. Let's say someone loves, say, SPI Cinemas in this case, or PVR generally. They love the theater's popcorn, the popcorn toppings especially, which let's say they are allowed to get only if they get popcorn, because or else people can just grab the toppings alone for free or for money. And then this is composability idea, which you can actually think about, wherein you provide parts of your food ingredients or parts of your service or products, so that people can mix and match with other products and services or whatever, right, or food or whatever. So people can just grab the toppings and then make popcorn on their own, because popcorn in theaters is pretty costly. It's like pretty costly these days too. So you're paying mostly, I think, for the toppings that you get for free, and you're paying for the real estate and the ambience, the electricity, the employees, so many employees working there, the hygiene, the cleanliness of the place, the maintenance of the place, the class, the quality of the place, and whatnot. There are many things you're paying for, and not just for the food, right? And but it is priced high, and people will look at the price and be like, popcorn, so much money? No. Anyways, so if theaters start selling their food outside the theater, like outside the part where you have to enter, like usually there is an entrance where you show the ticket and then you enter, and then after that only you can enter the place where you can see the movie, and you can also access the food counters to actually get the food, right? But then what if they allow you to get the food from the food counter even before you showing the ticket, right? And you don't even have to show the ticket at the food counter, like you can get the food even without having to see a movie or having a ticket. Basically that's what I'm saying, having a movie ticket. Then that's like people like theaters allowing you to buy food for without watching the movie, without getting their movie ticket, right? So the pros, of course, people can eat their food without having to pay for some movie, and like yeah, I mean, they will get money from popcorn. They will also, there's classic food, right? Apart from popcorn, there is burgers, there is pizzas, of course there is sandwiches, and then there is so these are like the salty or spicy stuff. And then there is also sweet stuff, like you have stuff like brownies, you have stuff like buns and chocolate buns and whatnot. You have stuff, classic Indian stuff in Indian theaters, like say puff, right, vegetable puff and whatnot. You have stuff like kachori. You have chaat items, the North Indian chaat items, which is like kachori, samosa and all that, bhel puri, even pani puri you can get, I guess. You can get a lot of stuff these days in theaters. And so if you can buy them, and if you can get it delivered, especially to your house, but that would be a totally different business, right? I can think of some reasons why they wouldn't do it. So let's look. So these are the pros for the business, okay, by the way. I'm not talking about pros for the people. Pros for the business is, like, people can get this and business will still earn money, even if the people, for people also, people if they want to eat the food without watching the movie, they can just get it, right? And it's pro for the business in the sense that the business can sell their food even without asking their customers to pay for any movie tickets, right? But then what is the con for the business? I'll tell you, right? The con is basically this, right? Like, first of all, like if they force the customer, let's say the customers, they want that food really so much, like they want it so much, the demand is so much for that food, then the business can actually, like if the business sells it without asking the customers to pay for the movie ticket, then the business is losing on the movie ticket money, because the theater business would rather say, well, if you want the food, pay for the movie tickets, that's all, right? So it's like kind of like forcing the customers, which is bad for the customers but good for the business, right? Great for the business, but in the sense that they can earn the money, but bad for the business in the sense that customers will get pissed off. Customers will be like, I want the food but I don't want to pay for the movie, because let's say there is no good movie going on but I need your food, I want your food and whatnot. Anyways, our customer can just pay for some dumb movie, say some cheap ticket, get into the theater premises, because there are tickets for like 10 rupees, 50 rupees, 20 rupees, 60 rupees, 100 rupees, the front row tickets and all for some dumb movie, whatever, and then go in and get food and sit and eat, right? Anyways, so for the business can be like, see, it's a problem for me if I don't, if I provide you the money, so if I provide you the food without asking for the movie ticket money. I mean, of course, food, there's going to be money. And so I would rather force you, so the business will be like, I would rather force you to pay for the movie ticket and then get access to the food, and you can pay for the food and eat the food. So they will rather do that than rather give the food access directly without any movie tickets. So that is that. And of course, customers have to pay for the movie tickets and go. And why not delivery and whatnot? Like, again, like same thing, right? Like movie tickets. Today, theaters, it just works inside your house. Sorry, inside your theaters. The movies run inside your theaters. It's not a house-based thing, right? So, or any other outside-based thing. So, if it's delivery, you're basically saying deliver it to my house or deliver it to my office or deliver anywhere. Pay for the movie ticket or else, right? But even then, they'll have to start looking at delivering part. Transportation is hard. They'll have to. That's a totally another kind of business they'll have to manage. That will be too much. So that is that. And then, so yeah, I mean, but they could consider it if they see that there's a lot of demand for their food, instead of forcing their customers to come to the movies and watch the movie and also get the food, right? But the other thing is this, right? One thing about forcing customers to come and watch the movies is PVR can actually earn a lot more compared to, say, PVR or other theater companies can earn a lot more compared to, say, they let people order food without, say, order and get food at the theater without seeing the movie or without paying for the movie. Seeing the movie doesn't matter, they see the movie or not. Paying for the movie is what matters for the business. So without paying for the movie, and also the other thing being getting food delivered, the theater food delivered, right? So in that case, like if you see movies are like 1 hour long, 1.5 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, 3.5 hours, right? In that 3 hours time, once people start eating, right, especially if they're watching a movie, if you think about it, when you're watching a movie or when you're doing something and then eating food, you become mindless. You don't mindfully eat, right? Let's say you're watching the phone or you're watching the TV, television, laptop, whatever, or say you're in the theater and you're watching the movie, right? Then you will mindlessly eat, similar to doing other mindless stuff, right? Instead of mindfully eating, you will mindlessly eat. When you mindlessly eat, what happens is you can easily overeat. When you mindfully chew your food and eat, you will not overeat, right? Because when you chew a lot, apparently when you chew a lot, your stomach believes and understands or thinks that you're full, right? Compared to, say, when you don't chew a lot. And it's easy to actually not chew when you're not mindfully eating, right? So you're watching a movie, you will probably focus on the movie, right? And so you will not, you can only do one thing at a time, actually, biologically speaking. So if you think you're multitasking, you're just being unwise. That is the decent term. The rude term would be you're being stupid or idiotic or whatever, right? Dumb or whatever. So you can just focus on one thing. Either you can focus on your food, the taste of the food, the texture of the food. Interestingly, given you're in a theater, you can't even look at the food color. Ideally, if you're mindfully eating, you have to actually look at the food before it goes into your mouth. Of course, after it goes into your mouth, you can't see it. So before it goes into your mouth, you see it and you're like, okay, the size of the food is this. What am I eating? I'm eating a carrot, I'm eating a chicken, I'm eating beans, I'm eating the burger, I'm eating the patty of the burger, I'm eating the bread of the burger, I'm eating the mix of bread, patty, lettuce, the cucumber, the coconut, like the tomato, potato of the burger, of the sandwich or whatever. In grilled sandwich, you can't even see until you start biting. unless you can, if even if it is cut, depends. In some grilled sandwiches, even if it is cut and grilled, all the sides are usually closed sometimes. Sometimes one side is open and you can see what you're eating. So in burgers, at least you can see usually, unless it's like very pressed and you can't see anything. Usually you can see. But then in a theater, the lights are off when the movie is going on, right? So you can't even see what you're eating. It's all like off. Like the movie's light will come up, but it will just be on the other side of you. It'll be like you're eating like this. The movie is on the other side. The screen is on the other side. Unless you're watching, you're not even watching the movie and you're turned around or whatever. You can't even turn around and sit because like this seats are facing the movie. Anyways, unless you're standing or something, whatever, and turn to facing the other side, in which case the light from the screen will fall on your food and you can probably see something. I don't know. So you will need some light to see your food, right? What you're eating. So mindfully eating would mean you see the food and then you see the texture, though texture can ideally only be felt through fingers and your mouth and whatnot. But see how it looks like, see the color, see what you're eating, identify what you're eating, and then put it in your mouth, and then feel the taste, feel the texture, right? And then chew it, mindfully chew it, and then swallow it, right? So that's what mindfully eating means, right? But then what are you doing, right? Usually, and you need to only open your eyes and see the food only when it's outside. Once you put it in your mouth, you can close your eyes so that you can focus on the taste of the food, the texture of the food, and chewing the food. You can close your eyes and start focusing on that, because when your eyes are open, you can actually easily get distracted by the stuff, anything around you. And in a movie theater, you already have a big screen in front of you. You will mindlessly eat, right? You will just look at the theater screen and you will look at the movie and you will be eating. And when you start eating mindlessly, especially the junk food that you're eating, which is made to ensure that you don't feel full that easily, usually that's the case. And since it's ultra processed food, biologically also that's how it works. A lot of ultra processed food, since it's ultra processed, it's easy to digest, and usually the satiating levels are very low for it. Even if it is high, it will get digested very easily, I think, because it's ultra processed and it's cooked really well and it's processed so well that it gets absorbed, the water is there in it. It can have nutrients, but the funny thing is you can't just focus on the nutrients. Like it's also processed, right? So it has bad stuff also. It will have some good stuff. It will of course have carbohydrates. It will of course have some level of protein. How much is the question? But it is having some calories. It has some energy, of course, right? It will give you some energy, especially quick energy, right? Because it's ultra processed. It will get the glycemic index for these food and all will be really high. I believe you can actually define glycemic index for even this stuff, though it's generally for sugar, but this will get broken down and it will get absorbed by your blood. The blood sugar levels will increase quickly for such food, and when the blood sugar levels increase really quickly, then the glycemic index is supposed to be high. You can read more about it. The glycemic index, the short form is GI, and usually I look at the glycemic index for stuff like, say, white rice, boiled white rice, and fruits and sugary stuff, but or even anything basic like say paratha, roti and all. But I think even these will have some glycemic index, right? Though it doesn't make sense to look for the glycemic index for these because it will be really high, okay, than compared to say something like raw food. So raw food, the satiating levels are really, really high, but then you will feel full, you will not feel like eating more, and they'll also digest slowly because it's raw food. But when it's cooked food, it's processed, and when it's properly like ultra processed food like the burgers and pizzas and what do you say, like sandwiches or whatever that you're eating, you will just keep eating more of them, right? And when you have 3 hours of time, you're mindlessly eating, you'll overeat, and you have 2 hours, 1.5 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours of time, you might end up eating all the time, or at least after the interval, which is like half the time of the movie, which is again like half an hour or 45 minutes or 1 hour or 1.5 hours, depending on the size of the movie. So the movie theater business is actually ensuring that you eat for a long time. If you're outside, let's say in your house or office or whatever, and you order the food, or you don't go see the movie, don't get any movie tickets or whatever, and directly get access to the food from the theater without, say, delivery or whatever, this won't happen. But then when you are forced to actually get a movie ticket, and when you actually end up watching a movie, you'll spend a lot of time there, and you'll mindlessly eat, and you'll eat for a lot of time. So that means more food being eaten, which is great for the business, right? So then they'll actually earn a lot of money. And of course, they'll sell all sorts of stuff like chips, also French fries and whatnot. Those are also not that much satiating and all, and you will end up feeling more hungry soon. Or at least ideally, the theater business should have made it like that for them to earn more money. So in which case they'll earn more money because you will again order more food, right? So again, cold drinks and whatnot, all of that is also there. And it's kind of like a habit that food businesses have created, wherein you basically eat something with something. Let's say burgers with French fries, or sandwiches with French fries, or burgers with chips, or sandwiches with chips, or burgers with, say, cold drinks like sugary cold drinks, or sandwiches with sugary cold drinks, or pizzas with sugary cold drinks. And this is also the reason they also give you combos where you, say, eat popcorn with, say, Coca-Cola or whatever, or Pepsi or whatever, or you eat I don't know, French fries and burger and Coca-Cola as a combo, right, which is cheaper than the whole thing together. But then for the business, it's just like they're selling more, right? So of course they're gonna ensure that you eat more, so that and you eat mindlessly, and you eat more, and you spend a lot of time in the theater premise, and you just keep eating more and more and more. Because you also need to understand that when you are in a theater premise, your brain is probably used to thinking that, okay, I'm in a theater premise, I am allowed to eat this kind of stuff because I'm in a theater premise. I don't come to the theater always. So when I come, I will eat the stuff that I usually eat. It's like a habit. So when habits happen when you have some sort of like idea, like, okay, this is the environment I'm in. In this environment, this is what I usually do, and it's like a trigger, right? So in a theater premise, your trigger is basically your environment first. You are in a theater premise. In theaters, what do? People watch movies, and while watching movies, people eat. And what do they eat? They eat stuff like popcorn, whatever, right? So you go to the theater, the first thing, some people just get the popcorn even before the movie starts because they love the popcorn and they like to eat while watching something. This is also a habit that businesses have created, right? So businesses have actually ensured that you're hooked to an idea, to a habit, like, that is profitable for them, right? Of course, because they're a business, so they will do that. So they want to be sustainable, they want to be profitable, and they want to just earn lots of money, right? So they want to make crazy amounts of money. In Hindi, my friend tells this as like andha paisa, meaning, I don't know, blind money, like so much money that you're just blind or something, I don't know. But he calls it andha paisa. Paisa means paise or money. Indian term, there's a term called paise, rupee, paise, but basically money. Andha means blind. So he calls it andha paisa. Basically, these businesses want to make lots of money, right? And I think PVR kind of businesses, they also have created their own products, right? Food products, like, I think it's called, I market them, but anyways, don't eat them, I'm telling you, but it's there. I'm sure you would have seen it on their theater ads. They have ad campaigns on their theaters for this. It's called 47 something, I forgot, 47,000 BC or something like that, which is actually something like a nachos, but not exactly nachos. It's actually some popped kind of food, which is not fried. They actually talk about how basically they want to say that it's healthy. It's not fried, it's not air fried or whatever. It's not fried, it's popped. And they, in their ad, they talk about this, right? They say the fact that this is popped, so it's really good and whatnot. And they also talk about how you need to be aware of it, because you might end up eating too much of it because it's so good and so tasty. And they sell it there. So a lot of food businesses or even grocery businesses, what they do is, first they start selling other brands, right? Like say PVR or other theater businesses, they would sell stuff like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, which is not their own brand, right? And then they can start selling their own brands also. For example, of course, PVR is selling stuff like sandwiches, burgers, which they make, right? They might have food vendor. They might they might have the whole PVR could be a franchise which makes it or whatever, but it's their own thing, right? It's not like something like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and they can also sell brownies. They also sell North Indian chaat items. Even grocery businesses, say supermarkets and all, do this, right? They sell first of all the food items, packaged food items or loose food items, mostly packaged food items of other companies first, unless they are like a big company that just sells their own stuff. For example, like Decathlon, they sell only their own stuff. They almost hardly sell other brands. I think sometimes they do, but I have never seen personally. Any brand name that you can see in Decathlon is their own brand, but that's like a sports business. But generally I'm saying like any business, say in this case grocery business, I've seen they sell first of all the dal, the oil items of other companies, and they are like a redistributor. They distribute the brands of other companies, not just one or two brands, but multiple brands, so that people can go and choose. For example, say More supermarket or hypermarket, they will sell all kinds of brands, right? And then they can introduce their own brand, saying More has its own brand. They will say it's cheap, or they'll say it's great, and people will notice it. Now that company, apart from distributing the brands of other distributing the brands like or the products of other brands, they can distribute their own products. And More supermarket also sells their say grocery items in loose, right? Which means it's not packaged, and they can sell it. It's their own brand, it's their own thing. So first people will trust More supermarket or whatever, and they'll get a lot of it. And then they will notice the More brand also, apart from these so many other brands. They can choose to actually take the More brand, and More brand probably says something like you will get more offers and whatnot if you choose our brand. Anyways, I just diverged a bit there, but then you can see similar idea over here, but more like first of all PVR starts selling stuff like of course Pepsi, Coca-Cola, but almost every other stuff that theater businesses sell is their own thing, right? And then now they bring their own packaged food item, and I believe this chips, I think you can get it only in PVR. I'm not sure though. So I don't think you can get it outside of PVR, but something to check out. But they put their ads only in theaters. I have not seen their ads anywhere else as of now, at least. So that leads people to actually get that packaged item. Since it's a packaged item, now you can take the packaged item outside of the theater also. But then you have to first of all get into the theater, assuming it's only available in the theater. Okay. So the next thing is, I think I recently started noticing that some of their food items, they provide it as packaged item. Let's say I think their popcorn, you can get their PVR popcorn as a sachet, similar to other brands that you can find outside in grocery stores and all. So grocery stores have different brands for popcorns and sachets that you can pop. Similar to that, PVR, if you go to their billing counter, food counter, it has sometimes these sachets that you can find, and it says that it's this much amount of money or whatever you can pay and buy this sachet. You can take it home and you can make the popcorn and make popcorn similar to what PVR has. But of course that is just the popcorn, but that is not the main unique selling point of PVR, but instead it is the toppings of the popcorn and whatnot, the powders that they provide, which you can probably get online, I guess. Different brands would be providing the same stuff. This is similar to whatever flavors that you can find, similar to peri peri and whatnot, that you can find in pasta, pizzas and all that, or paneer and whatnot, and grilled stuff and whatnot. So you can find similar flavors online also, I guess. So it's not like some it's probable that PVR has its own ingredients and whatnot, but then surely other brands would have found similar flavors and found some way to reciprocate or replicate it and duplicate those tastes, right? So, and it's not like all of those flavors are like some brand new names by PVR or different theaters. It's like some classic popular names only. I can't remember the names now, but you can easily find those kind of flavors outside also. But yeah, some people are like, I love that thing only, and I love to eat those only when I'm watching a movie. So yeah, I mean, you go to the movie theater, you go to the theaters, say PVR or whatever. You go to the theater premise, you go to the movies, and you're like, okay, in this environment, I'm supposed to be eating good food, and you just end up eating, and that's what PVR and other theater wants, right? And the interesting thing about movies is usually the idea is it's like how people say you don't eat food alone. That's just like people generally see it as a very sad thing, right? When you eat food alone, when you drink alcohol alone, or some people even do talk about doing drugs alone, let's say weed or whatever, or crazy narcotic drugs, or when you watch movies alone, or when you do anything alone, right? People are like, you don't do alone. That's just like sad. That's very depressing. That's what people say, right? Like, I watch movies alone, I'm fine with it. I have become very, very fine with it nowadays, than having to call someone and then ensure that, or rely and depend on them, on their preferences. For example, they have to like the movie, right? Or they have to consider watching the movie and whatnot, and then they have to consider coming to the theater or whatever, if it's a theater movie. In, like, I'm talking about theater movies for now, but then yeah. So it's easier to just plan with just me in my mind. I just have to consider myself and my preferences and whatnot, and that's all. My food preferences, my money preferences, like how much does the movie cost, would I be willing to eat stuff and whatnot. Some people are like, I want to go to the movies and I want to share the food, I can't eat all the food alone. So crazy stuff. And they'll have their own preferences, like, I don't eat non-veg, or I eat veg, I don't eat this, I eat that and whatnot. And I have very specific food preferences. I don't eat junk. And if someone says, I want to eat junk and I want you to eat that also, I want you also to eat that, and I want you to eat and share the junk food and whatnot, I'll be like, fuck off, go away. So that will be my basic reaction, at least in my head. The wise, nice, wise, and decent reaction will be like, sorry, I can't do that. So yeah, I mean, generally the idea is you go to the movies together with people, with family, with friends, with work colleagues or whatever, right? It's like an entertainment business, right? Theaters are an entertainment business, and whenever there is entertainment, there is food also. Remember, always entertainment is clubbed with food, so that entertainment businesses can make money. And this is true for any kind of entertainment business: theater, dramas, movie theaters, stand-up comedy, whatever you go, there is food or drinks. You basically drink and eat food, and that's how the entertainment is. This is true even for like concerts, music concerts and whatnot, or something like, say, what other entertainment businesses are there? I don't know. Like, basically that's how they make money. They sell food, and apart from the entertainment service and the food, let's say even the drinks, they'll sell a lot of all these stuff, say beverages, cold drinks or whatever. They'll even sell water for high cost, say more than the MRP, and they'll sell alcohol and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, so in this case, movie theater business, it's like proper entertainment and food. And when you go along with the crowd, you basically end up eating a lot. At least you will end up over ordering. This is true even when you go to a restaurant as a group. It's very easy to over order when you actually go as a group, because sometimes many people think that this will not be enough, right? Especially the person who is ordering the food, or the group itself will be like, no, this is not enough. We have to order a bit more, and they will always share food and whatnot. And it's very easy to over order, and for the business it's great because you've already ordered the food. The business doesn't care if you waste the food or whatever, as long as you've paid for the food, great. And it's prepaid food, so, and you have to pay for it, so you just have to go and pay, get the food. They don't care if you waste the popcorn, if you waste the burgers, or if you waste the pizzas or sandwiches, whatever, right? Or the charts you got, or the brownies you got, or you can take it home or whatever. They don't care. So you go as a group. The idea is you go as a group, you entertain yourselves, you eat the food, you eat mindlessly, you overeat, you overorder, you share, you do all that stuff. You can even stay in the theater for more time, I think. No one is going to actually force you to go out and all that generally. At least while the movie is going on, you can easily go out to the common area, and then from there you can go to the food counter. But yeah, once the movie is over, you can't go out to the common area to the food counter. You will have to go through the exit and get out of the movie theater, which is actually a good thing and a bad thing for the movie theater. Because now the people, let's say they want to buy more food even after the movie is over, they have to go outside the exit area, and to enter again they have to pay for the food. They have to pay for the movie, show the movie ticket, then go and pay for the food, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because two things, right? First of all, not a lot of people would prefer to pay for a movie again to just get the food, probably, especially when they just get out of the exit area, right? And usually the exit area is outside, and once you get to the exit area and come out, you have to get in through a different entrance, and that's like the total new entrance, like the first, it's like the first line of defense for the movie theater. You have to enter through that, show that you don't have any food items in your bags and whatnot, show the movie tickets and whatnot. You can't directly access the food counter. Anyways, but until the movie is over, you can actually get out, not through the exit area, but the other place, the other side from where you entered, and you can go there and you can go to the washroom and whatnot. Usually theater businesses, you can access the washroom only after you show the movie tickets and go inside and whatnot, and you can access the water area and whatnot, especially when the movie theaters are in a mall. Let's say usually it's in the topmost floor, and in that floor, funnily, some malls, let's say the mall that I recently visited, in that floor, the washroom is there only inside the movie theater. So only if you get movie tickets and show the movie tickets and go inside, you can access the washroom. Of course, other floors have washrooms, common washrooms for the malls. But in that floor, the last floor, there is no common washroom for the mall. There is only washroom within the movie theater. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, but before the movie gets over, people can actually sneak through, or not sneak through, they can use the washroom, they can go to the food counter and get more food. And that way they can just get more and more food. So they have so much time to get food, and movie theaters be like, okay, awesome, more food sold. So what's stupid about the whole, or what are the bad things that movie theater businesses are doing? So I told some of the pros and cons that I said, right? So first of all, maybe they could allow people to buy more food. People are interested in the food. I understand that it's unhealthy food, and I would recommend people to not buy more of it. But if people are interested, PVR should support it, right? So if the movie is over, PVR should still allow people to go through the entry area from where they entered to the movie, and not just ask them to go through the exit. But of course, one advantage of asking them to go through the exit is because crowd, right? Because they can't manage the crowd. There will already be another crowd coming in for the next show and whatnot. So there's only so much crowd PVR can take up. The real estate is a constraint, right? So that is there. But yeah, in general, somehow if PVR can support people who want to buy the food even after the movie is over, just after the movie is over, maybe provide some way for that, right? And then what is the next thing, right? Like PVR, first of all, they provide only some kinds of food, right? Because the mindset is, you go to a movie theater, you only eat some kinds of food. At least that is the popular idea. Majorities demand the behavior of the majority. I talk about the, taking advantage of the behavior of the majority, or taking advantage of behavior, like majority's behavior. So the majority's behavior, or majority people's behavior, is that eat junk food and eat this kind of food in movie theaters, so which is popcorn and whatnot. But then if I go to a movie theater and if I want to eat, I'm usually ensuring that I eat enough before going, and I drink water and whatnot, and I ensure that I don't need to eat or feel hungry during the time. And even if I feel hungry, I would rather not eat than eat junk food, right? So, but then if they can actually provide me a way to actually eat healthy food also, let's say they have some healthy options. Let's say they can say that schedule your order beforehand so that we can actually ensure that there is some healthy food available for you, because there is very low demand for this. It's really hard for them, I understand, but I think going forward there'll be more and more people who will be interested in eating healthy food, right? So if they want to support these people also who want to eat food but they prefer healthy food, then I think they have to start providing some healthy options also. I think their sandwiches to some extent are healthy, like to some extent. I think, like, if they don't put mayonnaise and whatnot, if they take instructions, special instructions, cooking instructions, like don't put mayonnaise or don't put any sauces, great, and just put plain stuff, like all that, maybe cheese and all that is fine, not too much and whatnot. And bread, for me, for example, I'm not good with bread. My stomach doesn't do well with bread, at least too much bread. I've noticed that. I've noticed that when I eat too much bread, I just constipate, right? So but then I would rather just take no bread at all instead of taking even a little bit bread. So I'm like, do you have salad options and whatnot, right? And can you take scheduled orders beforehand? I'll prepay for the food, and this is usually available for stuff like popcorn and all. When you go to PVR's website or Inox website or PVR's app, mobile app and all, or Inox or whatever mobile app, or say Book My Show and whatnot, you can usually pre-order and prepay for the food that you're going to eat. So as part of that, can they also take food orders for healthy food? Because I understand that they can't provide on demand some healthy food, they can't prepare it and all that. But if they notice that there is a lot of demand, especially based on their scheduled order, can they actually make it for some people and all that? So some sort of healthy food, right? But I understand that they can't be a full-fledged food businesses, like they can't be full-fledged food business like other food businesses like some restaurant and all, trying to provide everything, for which they'll need to have every other source or every other ingredient, right, which is the source for making food, and every other, say, equipment and all that is needed to make food. Like I can't go and say I want tandoori roti and palak paneer, right? I mean, for that they need tandoori, and then they need to make the roti, and then they need to make palak paneer and whatnot, though they might have paneer and all. Anyway, so it's going to be hard, right? They need to have the tandoori oven and whatnot. So, and not a lot of people will order for that, right? But if they can take scheduled orders, and if they can somehow satisfy those demands, I don't know, and if it's still profitable for them, then maybe, or at least look for that demand, ask people's feedback. And not a lot of companies do it, right? Asking for feedback, asking for any sort of ratings, reviews, to understand the customer's experience, right? Interestingly, some companies, like PVR asks, like PVR sends me a message, especially when people have bad experiences. They will surely know, because people try to put it, but people don't have to put it. So they have to actually reward for actually giving a review in some way or the other, so that people are more encouraged to do it, and people are more motivated to do it, and more encouraged, and more and people also have more skin in the game of sorts, or whatever, right? Something, so that they have more enthusiasm to give feedback, right? And they feel better and whatnot. So that emotion is also important, right? Apart from just getting something out of that transaction of giving feedback. You make a transaction, you give feedback, you get some points or money or whatever. That's very basic. Some people just for some small amount of points, I don't want to do all this shit. No, I won't do it, and I don't care. I don't care if they're bad. I would rather just choose some other movie theater, or some other branch of PVR, or some other movie theater business by itself, not even PVR, and go for that, and that's all, right? So it's important for businesses to actually get feedback. So something like this, for example, say food, healthy food options and whatnot, and and look at and they are doing some good stuff though, PVR. For example, they do provide some vouchers for people to actually see movies 4 times in a month for actually as low as $350, which is the cost of actually seeing one movie in places like Bangalore. Right? In places like Tamil Nadu, there is a cap on how much the cost of a movie can be. Actually, movie ticket can be, at least for the basic movies. IMAX and all, of course, can be costlier. But for the basic movie screens and whatnot, I think I don't know what is the difference in all the IMAX and whatnot, but the screens and whatnot, the technicalities. But forgetting or chucking the technicalities, there are some laws in Tamil Nadu and all state laws which say you can't have the cost of a movie ticket more than this. But that is not true in Karnataka, say in Bangalore and all, or in many other states, or any state, I believe, right? So it's a problem for states like Tamil Nadu, where not problem for state, more like problem for the theatre businesses there and all, including say PVR and all. But in other places, PVR can actually say, I will provide you movie for low costs, but of course not for all kinds of screens. If it's IMAX, big screen, XL, they have some concept of PXL, PVR XL screen and all, or 3D and all that stuff, in which case they will ask for some extra money, but they have a movie voucher and all. So this is called PVR passport, I think, which is true for PVR and Inox, because I think PVR acquired and bought Inox, similar to buying other companies like SPI in Tamil Nadu and all. So that is that. So they're doing good stuff there. So in food, they could provide more healthy options, is what I think, and what I believe will help, especially for people who are crazy about health, like me, for example, regardless of regardless of whatever it is, crazy about health, regardless of the end results. But I am crazy about the end result also, and not just the input, which is good food and whatnot. Because some people are fine with, like, say, pseudo healthy food and whatnot, pseudo nutrition and whatnot. I am not okay with it, because that will not give results, and I am crazy about the end results also, and not about the input alone. So what else? What else? Like PVR, one of my friends at least told me once that, how he wants to see movies, but for him it's from the comfort of his house. Like, he loves it when he can watch a movie from his laptop than go to the theaters. And some people hate it when theaters are like noisy and all. Like, I hate it when I go for some pretty popular movies and then a lot of people are shouting and whistling, which is very popular in India. And movie theaters can't do much, because they don't want to actually piss off their customers and make their customers angry, and or disrespect their customers or whatever. But then it's important to have silent theaters, so that the theater experience is great, right? Which is why, say, movie businesses like, say, PVR and others, theater businesses, they actually ask, not movie businesses, theater businesses, movie theater businesses, ask people to, say, put their phones on silent. But then people talk a lot during movies. People, I don't know, do different weird stuff. They sometimes they talk over the phone in the movie theaters for so much time. Especially, they bring kids over, and kids can be actually crying and whatnot, making noises and whatnot, which can be pretty annoying for many people, especially when it's actually a continuous disturbance and all that, right? So when it's continued disturbance, then and continued annoyance, people will get really pissed. People want some silent experience, nice experience. A lot of people love the IMAX experience and the movie theater experience. A lot of people, like me, for example, like just watching the movie. I don't care if it's on the laptop or theater or TV. But these days I'm used to watching it on TV or theater. I hardly watch movies on laptops and phones these days. I used to. I don't anymore, and I'm happy about it, because it is pretty addictive to watch movies or any content on any video content on laptops and phones. I sometimes watch YouTube videos on phones, but that's all. And no series or anything of that sort on phones and laptops, only on TV, and that too, I don't watch series anymore. Movies, as much as possible, I watch only on TV. right? But I think the last one I watched, I can't remember. One of them, oh yeah, I watched it on TV only. The last movie I watched on OTT, over the top platform, which was actually, I think, Sony Live or something. I watched it on TV only. I don't watch movies on laptops or phones, which is a good thing because it's very addictive to watch it on laptop and phones, and you are always having your phone on you, and you can always watch a movie or series. And even laptops, you're at work or whatever, you can easily watch a movie. TV, it's very rare. You're at your house or whatever. And in my case, I live in a hostel, and though I do have a TV, I don't watch it at all in my hostel. And theaters, I rarely go. I'm like, I don't have the time for it, and I don't want to watch the movies that are being screened there because mostly it's not that great. Though I used to watch bad movies, right? I don't watch much bad movies anymore. Like not all movies anymore. I watch only some movies these days. Before and all, I was like, I'll watch any movie, even if it's bad. I'm fine with it. I won't even watch the trailer, but I think I won't do that anymore. It's going to be very rare. I listen to the word of mouth reviews and sometimes go, but yeah, I'm planning to ensure that I watch only good movies hereafter because I don't have much time for movies, unfortunately. And yeah, I mean, what else? I think theaters like movie theaters like PVR can actually provide some sort of streaming service because friends like mine, they would want to watch movies in silence, without people shouting around, whistling around, without kids crying around, without people making any noises and like or talking over the phone, without mobile phones ringing and whatnot, and without having to go out of their house. Like my friend is very lazy, so he doesn't want to go out, say ride his bike or whatever, and go to the movie theater, watch it, and then come back. He would want to watch it at the comfort of his house and eat anything that he wants and whatnot, which is what movie theaters don't want. Movie theaters want you to eat their stuff, right? Anyways, I think one thing that movie theaters can do is like they can probably allow you to watch movies that they have license to over their own OTT, probably for a higher cost. But then, yeah, I mean that will just be not working because, or let's say it will work when the movie has just released. Usually, movies release on OTT on other platforms only say after a month or so, or only after a few weeks, and very rarely or almost never immediately on the platform OTT platforms when they release in the movie theaters, right? And some release directly only on OTT. They don't even come to the movie theaters, which is pretty cool for people who love OTT, but not great for people who love the movie theater experience and the food and whatnot that they eat, right? They get to experience, and the whole entertainment that they get from going with a group, with their friends, family, or whatever, or with their colleagues as a team outing or whatever, and then eat all the food and whatnot at the movie theater and then see the movie and whatnot. So that experience is gone for the people who love that experience, so they don't get that. But then yeah, uh, but yeah, I mean, something to think about. Movie theater businesses getting into OTT business somehow, but I think it will require them to have licenses and all that, because usually these days you can see that whenever a movie gets released, you can see when the movie starts, they put the names of actors and whatnot, they put the names of the producers and whatnot. They also say who are the different partners, say music partners, music streaming platform, and then streaming platform itself. So it's already known that who is the streaming platform. Of course, when is the date of the streaming is not clear. Usually there is only one streaming platform. Very rarely, I think, or almost never, there is multiple streaming platforms, which is also a sad thing. But so in that case, I think movie theater businesses are at a loss. They can't probably, or they can never just stream just easily, and no point in streaming for a higher cost, because people will rather just, they would rather just, will go for slower cost ones. They already have some subscriptions, then they'll see the movie in the existing subscriptions that they have than choosing the new subscription from the movie theater business, which also has a OTT, let's say, like hypothetically. So they would rather just choose the existing nice, great tech OTT, because a lot of OTT platforms have different kinds of tech and it's not great, not mature and all. But platforms like Netflix or even something like Amazon Prime, but I think Netflix is pretty mature. Um, Prime Video also I think has become mature, but yeah, others I think I have to check it out. But I doubt they are mature enough as much as like Netflix and all. And what else? So that is the thing about OTT and all. And yeah, I mean, movie theater businesses, that's all. Like, I think they are a dying business kind of, given OTT and all. A lot of people prefer OTT, given how they want to eat any kind of food, they want to be able to order any kind of food, which movie theater businesses can't allow, right? Like, because they want to give their own food. Or I think they could allow people to bring their own food into the movie theater, let's say, assuming people are okay to come to the movie theater and watch the movie, but with their own food. Then PVR can say you can bring your own food, but for some amount of money, right? Um, um, yeah, I mean, it really depends how they're going to actually put that money. For example, they can say, show me the bill of this food or something like that, or just have a flat cost or something, but it's going to be very weird and tricky. But yeah, I think the moat or the main business of PVR is the main business and main money of PVR is in food, and especially when people come in big groups. So people who come in big groups, they will spend more money and they'll spend more money on the food and whatnot. Then if all those people, let's say 10 people, come into the PVR theater and say we will bring our own food, I think it's going to be very tricky for PVR. Or they lose all those 10 customers, and those 10 customers just watch it on OTT in someone's house as a group, and they're just eating their own food, anything that they want, their own preferences, than having to eat only the theater food that they are like bored of or whatever, right? And they like the experience in their house or whatever. Probably they have their own, say, mini theater or of sorts, or something like that, or they have good sofas and whatnot. Though PVR and other movie theaters have recliner seats and whatnot, comfortable seats, but anyways. And what else? And the comfort of time, right? Like PVR movie theaters and whatnot, they show movies only at some particular timings, right? And sometimes you can't plan very ahead. You need to plan very ahead in time, very much ahead in time, if you want to get seats for popular movies, especially on weekends, right? Or else you can't get tickets, especially for a seat that you want, or for a cost that you want, or for a time that you want, or for a day that you want, right? Because weekends there is Saturday, Sunday, both days, and maybe you want on some particular day, particular time, particular seat, nice seat, and whatnot. So people would rather just be like, okay, I'll just watch it on OTT. I'm not so crazy about movies, so I'm fine with it. So that is that. So what else? And yeah, I mean, one problem for movie theater businesses is that they just have to be open all the time, like, because it's an on-demand business, and and they have a brick and mortar place, right? It's a actual place. It has real estate. They keep their electricity running. They have employees working all the time. They have their food counter all the time. But interestingly, I have noticed that their food counter is sometimes not working and all. As in, like, when, let's say, the movie has just started, they are like, food counter is yet to open, and some people are like, I want the food now. The thing is, the customers are probably crazy about food. They are like, I want the food now. The good thing for the business is their customers want the food now. They're crazy about their food. They're crazy about their food, the customer's food, and the customer is also crazy about the business's food. They want that food, they love the food or whatever, or they just want food in general. The business has to be open at that time. But yeah, that's just, I just diverged a bit. But anyways, so there are food counters and whatnot. There is food that they have to make a bit, but usually it's fast food, so it's easy to make. That's why there is a reason they have fast food, and there's a reason it's called fast food, because you can quickly make it. So they'll just have the ingredients ready. That's why they can't make other kinds of food or healthy food and whatnot, which needs some time to prepare and whatnot. Fast food almost all the time, or most 99% of the time, is just unhealthy, which is why I don't prefer fast food and all. So yeah, I mean they are running all the time, like even from Monday to Friday. This movie Passport that I said for PVR and all works only from Monday to Thursday. That's all, okay? Because Friday is actually a very specific and special day for multiple reasons. First of all, Friday, a lot of people actually go for movies on Fridays. Another thing, a lot of movies in India release on Fridays and Thursdays also sometimes. So for this reason, they don't actually provide the passport pass for Friday. Only it's from Monday to Thursday. You can't use it on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because it's a very convenient day and they want to earn more money on those days. So they would rather not provide the pass to you for those days. And you can only use the pass once per day, I think, and 4 times per month, and only once per week, I think, or multiple times per week. I forgot about that, but you can only use once per day, I think, and only on Monday to Thursday, right? So yeah, I mean it's the problem for them is like they do provide this because on Monday to Thursday almost no one is going to come to the theaters. I have actually watched a movie in, I think, Cinepolis, but this could be anywhere, where no one was in the theater. No one. Okay, it was just me and some of my colleagues, and we were watching an English movie. It's called Cocaine Bear. It's a really good movie, by the way. Very funny, but a black comedy. There was no one in the theater, right? And they had to screen the movie because, well, it's an on-demand business, and if anyone wants to get a ticket, let's say in the last minute, if the movie is at 6 p.m., if the show is at 6 p.m., someone comes at 5:59 p.m., or someone comes at even 6:30 p.m. and says, I want the 6 p.m. show, I want to see that movie now, I'm fine with losing that 30 minutes or whatever. And actually in PVR, they run 15 minutes of ads for almost all movies, even for unpopular movies and all. So let's say they are saying, I'm fine with losing 30 minutes or 15 minutes of the movie, but I want to see that movie now. They need to show it, they need to screen it, and I think they're always screening movies, I'm assuming that. In which case it's sad because they have to be running all the time. They have to keep screening stuff all the time, regardless of who comes or who doesn't come. And how do they capitalize on it? Well, they, by ensuring that more people come, they provide happy hours kind of stuff, similar to how resto bars provide. They provide passport, and they say it's low cost for Monday to Thursday and whatnot. And if you see stuff like say for 9 a.m. and all, you have movie shows at 9 a.m. also. I am the kind of guy who is like take advantage of the behavior of the majority, and majority's behavior is that they don't wake up early and they won't go to early movie shows and all at 9 a.m., 10 a.m. and all. So I would rather go for 9 a.m. show. And the best part about 9 a.m. show is that the cost of 9 a.m. shows are actually a bit lower than the other shows. And I think this is to encourage people to go for 9 a.m. shows, because generally I think no one goes for 9 a.m. shows. But yeah, if it's popular, then yeah, the popular movie might get a lot of 9 a.m. shows. In which case PVR might put a higher cost for 9 a.m. shows also. And I've noticed that sometimes PVR doesn't lower the cost for government holidays. I'm sure they are intentionally doing it. This was May 1st, it was a government holiday, and I went for a movie. I was very happy that I got a very cheap recliner seat for $250. I mean, it's not cheap for everyone, but I felt it was cheap because generally it's some 600 rupees or something, but I got it for some 300 rupees. And I was like happy, but of course the business will be like, hey, I got 300 when no one is going to go for the movie and whatnot. But actually a lot of people came for the movie. I got recliner seats and it was cheap. It was a morning show. It was Avesham movie, I believe, yes. It was May 1st. It was a holiday, and I was like, it's a holiday, why is the cost of 9 a.m. show so cheap? But for the other shows also, it was the usual cost than the was it the usual cost or costlier stuff? I don't know. I think almost every day it's the same cost for different shows, but morning 9 a.m. alone it's the same cost, low cost. But ideally, I think they should have higher cost for 9 a.m. shows if it's a holiday, and even for weekends they should have higher cost. But I guess if they have more and more higher cost, less people will come. Then they'll just lose business. They would rather just get some business than have no business, I guess. So that is also there. But anyways, so that is that. Yeah, I mean, that's all I had. Like, to say that, sometimes these businesses also have problems like these. They have to deal with OTT platforms, their competition. They have to deal with Monday to Thursday. This is similar to even restaurants and resto bars, especially bars, resto bars. There is no bar concept these days, I guess, because people don't just drink. People actually eat and drink, and apparently I've heard that it's a good idea to eat while drinking than just drink, because it's just gonna kill your stomach. I heard, because it's alcohol, it's acid, right? So I believe it's an acid, so ethanol and whatnot. So it's better to eat food. And yeah, people love food, and apparently you get very hungry and you love the food, especially when it's really good food. It feels more and more good when you drink, apparently. So resto bars, so they also have happy hours, right? So that people are encouraged to come during hours which are usually hours where no one comes. Say weekdays early morning, weekdays afternoons, or weekdays evenings, probably people come, right? So say weekdays afternoons and whatnot. Weekends and Fridays and whatnot, well, people sometimes just come, so they don't have happy hours probably at that time. So happy hours and all these voucher concepts for times when people don't come, or very rarely, or no one comes, is a good concept. But yeah, it's just sad for these businesses when they don't have like people coming in almost most of the time, because it is true for entertainment business, food and beverages business. A lot of these businesses, they work only mainly at nights, evenings, weekends and all that, than other times, right? I mean, assuming they don't have delivery and all. If they have delivery, of course they could be working at other times also. People deliver food, get their food delivered all the time. So yeah, so that is that. I don't know if resto bar businesses deliver food. If they do, they should probably do it. If they don't, they should probably do it. Not if they do. If they don't, they should probably do it, so that people can eat food. I mean, if they want to, they should. If they want to, they should eat it. They should be able to eat it, and they should be supported through, of course, delivery partners like Swiggy, Zomato and all. But of course, I think that partnership and all requires some money. And the cost of the food will increase if it's on platforms like Swiggy, Zomato, anyways. So yeah, I mean, that's all I had to talk about movie theater businesses, and I'll talk about food businesses in general. And yeah, movie theater businesses, especially in their food business, and this is true for even restaurants or any food business, they need to ensure hygiene. And I mean, if they don't, let's say for example PVR, if they don't ensure hygiene, if they don't ensure that the food is good enough, like some hygiene problem causing food poisoning, and if customers come to know about it, they will be like, I paid so much and you give me food poisoning, I am never going to eat at PVR, that's all, right? So they won't have recurring customers, or what people call as repeating customers or repeat customers, at least for their food business. Maybe people might come and just watch their movies and go off. So they should ensure that the food quality is really good, or else it's going to be problematic. Of course, all food businesses would not care about this. They might be like, I get customers all the time, I don't care about dissatisfying or disappointing some customers and pissing off some customers, or making some customers unhappy and all. I don't care if I make some customers angry. It's fine. And this usually happens in, like, say, I don't know, hostel food businesses, where hostel is giving food, or say small food businesses and whatnot, because the cost of the food is low and they can't just provide they can't ensure too much hygiene or whatever. I don't know. Hygiene comes in different forms, like how you cut the food, how you handle the food, how you store the food, what water you use and whatnot, the quality of the ingredients and whatnot, right? So there's like different levels. So yeah. So yeah, that's all I had for this video talking about movie theater businesses. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.